first at 4 months of work complete. The nearly $3 billion budget for San Antonio was approved by City Council today. Eyewitness News reporter Leah Durain is live with more on the decisions leaders faced. Leah?
Well, city officials say a fair and balanced budget was difficult to achieve during a global pandemic and with challenges in the community. Calls to defund the police department continue during the public comment portion of today's meeting, which finalized that budget. Of course, dozens of people during that public comment portion taking time to explain how they think the proposed budget does not resolve the issues that they see here in San Antonio. City Manager Eric Walsh made it clear that the budget does not defund SAPD, but allots money to developing new public safety methods. Officers will also receive a 5% raise, which was agreed upon in a contract from 2016.
We would be ignorant to deny that there are Black people who are victimized by police today. But I don't think the solution is making our streets more unsafe. We need our police. We should stand and protect and unite with our police, with our councilmen.
Housing was another big topic surrounding the budget, and $25 million has been allocated for public housing in the city of San Antonio. That means more than 1,700 families are expected to benefit from the program over the next fiscal year. Live overlooking downtown, I'm Leah Durain, KENS 5 Eyewitness News.